Offered him $1,000 on the spot.
Are you sure?
I need to get legal.
So we've all been there.
Well, I didn't expect any new world records.
Oh boy.
You have to keep chewing it.
Blowtorch everywhere.
It didn't happen.
In the drink.
I'll tear the pack open and just smell it.
I would never say that at a hot sauce festival. You're listening to The Hot Sauce Show, the place to meet hot sauce makers and enthusiasts. Let's jump right in. Hey everyone, welcome to The Hot Sauce Show. My name is Zack, your host, and today we have Craig from Petreaux Hot Sauce. Craig, we're really excited to have you here.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm glad I found you on social media.
Yeah, this is great that we became a pit stop for you between festivals. That's I feel like how it should be. Just between festivals, make a stop in and say hey. So yeah, thank you again. So question I always like to lead off with is what got you into all this?
I don't mind telling that story at all. A little bit of history. It's I grew up. My father, we always had the usual table sauce. The Louisiana style table sauce, as like most everybody is very familiar with. And then when I was in the service, I was in the Navy, and the food was kind of bland. So I put hot sauce on everything I ate while I was in the Navy. And then I always, follow through with that. And then one day, this is a true story. One day I was getting my oil changed at Walmart.
Okay. And
we were in the little waiting area. I was thumbing through some magazines and looked. There's an article in there, how to make your own hot sauce at home. I thought, So I showed my wife. I said, check this out. So I tore the pages out of the magazine.
So then it never crossed your mind about doing it at home. It was always just off the shelf and put it on.
And I thought, I saw the the pictures. They were nice photographs of some bright colored sauces. I thought, wow, those look pretty good. I said, here's the recipe, here's the processes. And so I tore the pages out of the magazine, took them home. That was 2010, maybe 11.
Wow.
And I still have those in my files.
Oh my gosh! And did you make those sauces?
Yeah, I did, and then I made some adjustments to them, and handed them out at work, and family, friends. What do you think of this? And so I made some adjustments, even more adjustments. And I thought, well, gosh, I need to remember what I did. So I start writing things down, and I start weighing every ingredient, including water, in grams, so I could be very accurate.
Yes.
And it just went from there.
I love that. I love that story. And this was so impromptu, which is fantastic, but I haven't had a chance to research a lot of your sauces, but I know one of your things, as a lot of others are trying to do, is kind of look for unique and uncommon ingredients. So what's your process with that? I mean, do you kind of try a fruit one day and say, I wonder what this would be like in a hot sauce?
It's just about like that.
Yeah.
And I'll look up different spices, unusual things I've never heard of before. I wonder how that'll taste in a hot sauce. And I have one of those spices I use in my lethal dose, and it's called long pepper.
Long pepper, okay.
And it's like black peppercorns, but they're long, less than the name.
Like the actual corn is like a long.
It's long and I don't know. It's just long. It kind of looks like black pepper, but it's a longer peppercorn, and they're hard as bricks. And I've actually broken the blades off of a grinder.
Wow.
Grinding that up to add to the lethal dose.
And is it like a really peppery flavor?
It's similar to black pepper, but it has a whole different flavor profile. To me, it's almost licoricey, maybe. And it's expensive spice. When I first started using it, I had to import it from India. It usually take only about a month to get here, which wasn't bad. But it's about $4 an ounce.
An ounce?
An ounce.
Wow.
And but the flavor, I love opening the pack of the whole peppercorns. I'll tear the pack open and just smell it because the aroma is incredible. And then when I grind it down to a powder, this is the same thing. It's even more so because you're releasing all the oils and everything in there. So it's a really good spice.
That's great that you can do it so fresh like that. So tell me about the first sauce that you commercially had available. Like what kind of things were in it?
I think the first sauce that we made was jalapeno, and I worked with a bunch of Hispanic guys, and I let them try the sauce. I considered them the experts, you know. And so tried it, and they suggested to me that we smoke the peppers, put them on the grill. So we put them on the grill, which helped. But then I actually put them started putting them in a smoker, and we ended up experimenting with different woods. And my favorite one, is just a hickory and cherry blend.
Wow.
So we smoke all of our peppers now except one.
Really? So you went from almost more of like charring on a grill, to then kind of more of the smoke flavor.
Smoke flavor, and it kind of pre-cooks them anyway, and before they're made into a sauce and cooked. So they're like pre-cooked, so it gets rid of the kind of that raw pepper taste.
And is that a sauce you still make?
Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic. So how do you ensure, like we just talked about grams and stuff going in the recipe, but in terms of like smoking peppers and all of that stuff, how do you keep that consistent?
I have I set the temperature. I have a digital smoker, and so I set the temperature just right and the time, and stick them in there and walk away and then I can either get them out right when they're done, or most of the time I'll let them stay in there and cool.
Wow. And then what other types of fruits and spices and things have you found that have been kind of surprisingly fantastic?
We have one that has won several awards. It's our Georgia Peach Habanero.
Okay.
And we've won a lot of awards for that, and it pairs well with so many different foods, especially like a pulled pork sandwich. You can use it as a glaze for pork chops on ribs.
That sounds really good.
You can use it on a hot buttered biscuit.
Yeah.
It's good in ice cream, pancakes, waffles. You can blend it with cheesecake.
Okay.
Or
like a spicy cheese.
Cream cheese. You make cheesecake from it, or just use a spicy. Make yourself a spicy version of cream cheese, like a little dip, and use a little Teddy Graham. It makes a nice party tray.
Yeah, it's like I love doing things beyond just putting on top of food. Like when you can incorporate it, I feel like that gives you another culinary status with it. Yeah,
it also pairs well with the coconut shrimp as a dip, egg rolls. I put on Asian foods. It's a really versatile sauce.
So let's get into it here. We have kind of a range here. So tell us about the first sauce we're going to try here.
This is the Petreaux roasted habanero, and obviously, again, we smoke all of our peppers except the one on the end, and gives it a good smoky flavor. Brings out the good habanero flavor and the habanero heat in there. So it's a very flavorful sauce. I love this stuff on pasta. Spaghetti, lasagna, mac and cheese.
Just top it right on.
Oh gosh!
Wow.
And I love it on French fries.
French fries.
It goes so well with French fries. Pizza.
That's great. All right. Well, I'll let you grab the bottle there and grab a spoon.
Here you go.
There. I'm really excited about this.
Whoa!
Right.
Dang.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Do our visible cheers there. All right. Here we go. Right off the bat.
Good, that smoke.
Hell yeah.
And then the habanero flavor and the heat.
Oh yeah, that sneaks up, doesn't it?
But obviously you don't have any food with it. But it's a good. That's my favorite sauce out of all the ones we make.
Yeah, really, really rich and dynamic, and it's. I love how you get the smoke flavor, and then the heat kind of creeps up there at the end, and yeah, that's really, really fantastic. How long have you had that one?
Ooh, probably 12 or 13 years.
Really? Mm-hmm. And you feel like you've been able to keep it really consistent, batch over batch and everything? Yes. That's great.
Yeah, I finally went to, like I said, we started out as amateurs, like almost everybody does.
Right.
And I thought, well, gosh, this stuff's working out for us. I need to get legal.
Yeah.
So took the classes at University of Georgia in Athens, Georgia, and for better process control for acidified foods, and passed all that, and then got my recipes approved by the same person that put on the class.
Yeah.
And then the labels have to go through. Kind of strange, I think. The health department
For the labels.
Yeah. And you got to send them to Atlanta and get approved, and then we had to find a co-packer because didn't want to make these in our kitchen anymore.
Right.
That took some doing.
Yeah.
We got a lady up in northern part of Georgia that works with us really well.
Now, did you have any ideas for the labels or artwork before you started making them, or are you more of a sauce guy and then the labels come?
Yeah, probably the latter. And we've had some different labels through, of course, from when we first started out.
Right.
The label on the habanero, label on our jalapeno is actually photographs I took of my plants. My peppers on the plant in my garden. And then I use an app on my phone to make them look like a painting. And then it turned out pretty good.
Yeah, no, I love that. It looks great. So how do you find yourself with using these really unique ingredients and the peppers balancing the flavor and heat? Is it really a lot of trial and error, or do you have some other tricks?
But with experience, with a little bit of background in making these, you know what the pepper's like. Then you try to figure out what maybe some spices, that would kind of bring that even forward instead of masking it. And because I don't want to mask the flavor of the food, I want the sauce to be able to bring the flavor of the food up.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of a challenge, but with experience I've had, I kind of know what to look for now.
So, is it you kind of have your set peppers you go to, and then you kind of come up with ingredients, or because you kind of keep a static lineup of what you have?
Yeah.
And then you have a couple in the queue that you're kind of working on as you go, or
Yeah, I look for other spices that are available, and I'll find something or read about another spice that I find on the internet, and I thought, wow, that looks like it could work with a sauce, and then you have to try to match the pepper to that flavor, and some work and some don't.
Some don't. Yeah. Well, that's how it goes. So, how have you, in your a lot of experience doing this, have you found any? I think it's easier with like fruits and other things to compare on how it goes with food. Have you found any pepper specifically that you're like, man, habanero just really pairs well with chicken? Is there anything like that, or do you think it's more sauce based?
Well, both.
Both.
There's some peppers work better with different foods than others. So it's there's like, okay, let's make a sauce and add, adjust the ingredients to where it pairs well with that food. Mm-hmm. So it's ongoing.
Yeah,
it's ongoing. I've even some of the recipes I've had approved already, and we market our sauces. I've gone back and like, I think I'm need to make some changes and make an adjustment. Mm-hmm. You find new ingredients, so you make the adjustment, and it's either like, oh, that didn't turn out, or this is better.
Yeah,
so it's trial and error. You get a lot of experimentation.
And then I guess what gets tricky too with trying sauces and tasting sauces is sometimes you get kind of in too much of a groove because you're like you said, that's your favorite. Yeah. So it's like you're just slamming that in tacos, all day long and everything. Yeah. And then you're like, okay, I need to step back, work on some other things, and get that. But that's really great. Another interesting thing that you had mentioned to me is pairing with beverages, with hot sauce and beverages. So tell me about that.
Well, that's something it's still in my head.
Okay.
And thinking about maybe making a sauce that pairs well with like a Bloody Mary or a margarita, and not just your average mix that you.
Now you're talking in the drink.
Yes.
In the drink. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And add it to an already a mixed
known drink,
and bring the flavor up. And but I actually talked with a guy locally several years ago who was making Bloody Mary mixes, and we were going to try to hook up in that respect. And he was already pretty popular making his mixes, and it didn't happen. But but I'm still looking for either established sauces or mixes for mixed drinks, somebody else, and then maybe make some adjustments and for adding a pepper, or add a little bit of heat, or just go with what they have.
Right, because if it's like a wing place, it's like, okay, well, why don't you do like a Carolina Reaper margarita, or or just something, and and it's rimmed with ghost pepper powder.
We were at a Mexican, kind of a high-end Mexican restaurant in Atlanta with some friends one evening, and I brought my own sauces. set them on the table, and our server came by and noticed that I brought my own sauces, and he says, our chef makes some sauces. Would you want to try his? I said, sure. I have a pantry. I have boxes and boxes full of other people's sauce because I like not just my own. I buy other sauces that I like.
Yeah.
And one of them right here in St. Augustine anyway. And but anyway, it's the chef. I tried the chef's sauces, and I was so excited on one of them. I offered him $1,000 on the spot.
For the recipe?
For the recipe. He said he couldn't do it because it was proprietary. I said, I understand that, but I'll buy the rights from you.
Right.
I said, this is money.
Yeah.
And he smiled. He said, I can't do it. The restaurant owns it. I don't.
Right.
Like, oh, man.
Yeah.
So I was trying to.
Was it like a salsa or was it more like a hot sauce?
No, it was a sauce.
It was a sauce.
And kind of creamy looking. It had almost white, but it had a little green tint to it.
I've had a similar sauce to that.
And,
I couldn't quite put a finger on it.
I couldn't. We tried to find out what the recipes, maybe what the ingredients were, and just from reverse engineering, just by tasting it, and I couldn't do it.
You couldn't do it. Oh my gosh, that's funny. I've had that happen before at a restaurant where I asked for the hottest sauce they have. They bring something out, and I'm like, I don't think this is especially like a Mexican restaurant. I'm like, I don't think this is the hottest you have. I'm like, I really want the hottest sauce, and then they come bring it out. But the exact same thing. It's almost like a paste, not a paste, but like not like a red hot sauce, at all.
Right.
Yeah, I know and then it's just I don't know if it's I couldn't put a finger on what kind of pepper it was. So
really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was shocked. I was like, this is delicious, but we'll do the same thing. Bring hot sauces, and there's a taco place down the road here that everyone here, we always bring our two hot sauces we want and sit them down.
Oh, yeah.
And last time we were there, they say you order tacos and they say, do you want the mild, medium, or hot sauce with it? They're all hot sauces. And I was like, oh yeah, the hot one for sure. And he always says, are you sure? I was like, oh yeah, definitely. And then I'm like drinking it before my tacos even come out, put it on chips. I'm like, oh, this has a lot of flavor. Not too hot though. And they're just like, oh my gosh. So that's really good.
Yeah, those of us that have a trained palate to withstand, the heat.
Yeah.
But one thing I don't just sit there and munch on
peppers,
raw peppers.
I
can't do that.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of that, and I'm like, I'm good.
And when I first came up with the pepper for Fierce, and then when I started growing Carolina Reapers, that was a mistake.
But biting them, yeah.
I thought, gosh, how do people do this? But I watch them do it all. I have some friends that do that, and then they compete
all the time.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the record is now for how many is it a sitting or a time thing?
I think it's both. It's either some of them are under time.
Okay.
You got to eat 10 in 1 minute or whatever, and or just he just got to eat so many in so it's
What you kind of want to see one, it would be like, okay, if you got to put 20 down, like that's not going to be fun, but at least you're clearing it quick. You're going to pay for it later. What if there was one? It's like, okay, you got to chew it and keep it in your mouth for 10 minutes.
I think
without swallowing.
I think your body has a defense mechanism on that, where you put a hot pepper in there like that, and you just chew it, and you can't swallow it. You have to keep chewing it, and it just gets worse and worse.
And worse and worse and worse as you chew it. Yeah, that's crazy. So you guys do a lot of shows and festivals and stuff.
Yes.
And when tell me about that.
We work a lot of festivals around Georgia. This past year, I retired from my regular job, so I had the time to go up to the Illinois Hot Sauce Expo this year.
Good.
In Joliet.
Good. How was that?
Had a blast. Had so much fun.
That's awesome.
Meeting all the well-established names in hot sauce, and so it was a good time. And they had wrestling on there, and they had all the competitions and stuff. It was good. I enjoyed it.
How did that? I'll say clientele differ from doing like a Georgia market? Was it intimidating at all with like everyone that came to your booth kind of knew what's up with hot sauce, or was it refreshing to talk to chili heads, or how did you feel about all that?
We always find chili heads and
everywhere
I go.
Yeah.
And you get people that grow, and you get people that eat raw chilies, and then you get the people that, like super hot sauces, and they'll walk up with their chest pushed out. I want the hottest sauce you have.
You're like, okay, we'll start there. Okay.
And then, like you mentioned a minute ago, it's like, are you sure?
Yeah.
And that puts a question in their head. And you can see by the expression on their face, like, oh gosh, I've done opened
I've
my
messed
mouth.
up. Now I will say I would never say that. I would never say that at a hot sauce festival. I would never say, "Yeah, give me your hottest first." But that's and then you give them the goods.
Yeah,
and
we have fun with it. So
that's really good. So how many shows now that you're retired? That's awesome. How many shows you trying to do a season or a year?
2 or 3 a month.
2 or 3 a month. Wow.
Yeah, we do a lot of traveling now.
And you're trying to move out of the Southeast and kind of expand, right? Is that right?
Yeah, I have a potential. Well, I have a customer that wanted to place an order, but they're out in Oregon, and I guess a locally famous store out there at Gold's Beach, and they're right on the coast, and it's like a big touristy place. And I said, well, we're traveling, we're on the road. When I get back, I'll get in contact with you. And I know we're in 13 stores around Georgia, which includes one in Jacksonville here at the airport.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But it's past security, so you can buy the 5-ounce bottles and
that's
it
a
with you.
bonus. Yeah, I would think it's better to be past security than catching people.
Right. They won't let you
leaving.
through. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, well, I guess either way.
I
Maybe
can
don't
see
know.
either, but I could see. I feel like when I'm traveling, it's more. I'm getting something for my wife, getting something for my kids. It's more of my trip's over. I'm at the airport now. Let me grab this versus let me grab something, put it in my bag, and make my bag heavier for my trip. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking that. But so what do you? So with trying to expand, throughout the country, you're talking about your smoking chilies and things like that, and you have your co-packer. How do you? You don't have to reveal any secrets, of course, but what's your game plan for keeping your quality and consistency as you expand? Is that something your co-packer can ramp up to, or
I've had a difficult time with that.
Really?
And we had a co-packer we were working with kind of last winter and up just past the first of the year this year, and he got so close. And I said, man, just add a little bit more of this or that.
Close with the flavor, not
everything.
we're not even talking about volume yet.
No,
we're just talking flavor.
Flavor.
Yeah,
and because it's my name on the bottle, I want it to
Sure.
be right.
Absolutely.
And and I said, just add a little bit more, a little bit more salt or whatever. So he sent another sample back to to my house, and we sampled it. I said, man, you're way off. How did you get so far off?
Oh my gosh.
You were so close before,
How do you think that happened? Because you have the letter, doesn't that kind of dictate all that stuff?
Yeah, they have the approved recipe all the way down to the gram, and of course then they have to produce that. They got to expand that to 75-gallon, 100-gallon
Which is
batches.
just math.
It's not linear though when you do it that way.
Okay.
And I found out, and you can just make 100 small batches and add them to one big pot.
And it's a little different.
It's a little different, yeah.
So how does have you found it difficult with the complexity of your sauces? I mean, obviously you just told me that story, but like with the smoking and all that stuff, and how do they handle all that?
Yeah, I haven't found anybody yet that can smoke peppers. They always want to add smoke. And that same place, they were pretty close in doing that as far as the flavor goes.
Yeah.
But they were using a puree which pulverized the seeds, so you could look at the sauce and see all the tiny chips of seeds in there. And I said I didn't like the texture or the
because
the
it's kind of
appearance.
gritty.
So, but we strained seeds. We go the extra step and strain seed. We didn't. When we first started, we didn't do that, and got a few, complaints if you want to call them that, and
Complaints that the seeds were in it.
Yeah.
That people just didn't like the texture of it.
I guess. And but you look at a lot of the hot sauces that are on the shelf in stores, they have seeds.
Yeah.
Tiger sauce, which was one of my favorites from way back.
Yeah.
And it's still a good sauce. It still has all the seeds in it. So, but it's an excellent sauce. But yeah, I didn't like it in mine because it took away from the consistency. And so I don't know. He said, "Well, we buy our mash from such and such a place, And I said, "Okay, well, fine."
Yeah. If it doesn't taste like it, it doesn't taste like it.
I said, "Can you do anything to strain the seeds?" Well, no, we don't have a machine to do that. And they had one up in northern Georgia. They had a machine to do that, but it didn't work out. Our relationship didn't work out. So, but I've been up there and I watched them make jams and jellies, and they strain it.
Strain it.
And the guy was just under his breath cussing, and carrying on about, and then he said, I said, what's this? He said, it strains the seeds out. And I said, oh, that's pretty cool. And it was like an extruder.
Yeah.
And he said, the worst part of this is cleaning the machine when you're done.
Oh, I'm sure.
So that's why he was cousins.
I'm sure. Well, I think that's such a barrier for so many sauce makers is you've created an amazing flavor, and then it's like, maybe you're at a co-op kitchen or a shared commercial kitchen, you have your PLA and all that sort of stuff, and you're like, great, I have an awesome product, people love it, I'm in a place where I can start making real money on this, and then you get an order for 10,000 bottles, and you go, okay, well, that's a lot of X, Y, or Z. So, and then finding that right co-packer that can do all of that stuff and not oversimplify your sauces. And then you start thinking, you're like, is this why the chili vinegar and salt and water companies can sell,
produce so much.
100,000 bottles a day because they can produce so much. So I've talked about this before about how, hot sauce making, I feel right now is kind of where, microbrew was 20 years ago. I don't know if it's a renaissance, if it's coming back from anything, but it's in this period of prosperity where everyone's making sauces and it's just crazy and great. So I've put this one off, but all right, the second one here, this is a super hot.
It's a lethal dose. It's a
lethal dose is the name of it. Okay.
And we got really popular a few years ago, so I had to copyright the name. So it wouldn't be pulled out from under me.
Be pulled out, yeah. No, that's and so tell me about making the sauce.
Yeah, this one here is made from ghost pepper, and there's only like 5 grams difference in weight with the ghost pepper and Carolina Reaper.
Wow.
So ghost pepper is the first one listed.
It's the first ingredient.
First pepper.
Oh boy.
And then there's some other ingredients: the coffee, cumin, and the long pepper I was talking about earlier. And
is ground up, put in there.
Spice, yeah. And it's a pretty rich flavored sauce. You might get a little bitter note on the end because
that's the long pepper.
No, that's from the ghost pepper and Carolina Reaper.
Okay.
To me, they have like a little bit of a bitter aftertaste.
Gotcha.
And so I've tried to mask that. And
what do you? While I can still speak. What do you like to eat this on?
Oh my gosh, I love it on. I'll take a bottle with me to when I go to get a Subway sandwich.
Really,
and put on there
it's ketchup.
Pretty much. And after about the third bite, I got to push it back.
Yeah.
Relax a minute or two, and then I'll go right back at it.
Right back at it. And, oh my gosh! And is this one popular when you do your shows and everything?
Yes.
People like it. So, all right, it's time.
It's time.
Grab it.
This is a little bit thicker sauce than the other one. I'll just give you a dab.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Petreaux lethal dose.
Petreaux lethal dose.
Here we go. Cheers.
Cheers.
Smoky. Umami. There it is. Just. Woo.
Yeah.
One's right in the back of the throat.
I can tell. Your voice changed.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good sauce.
It's good though.
But it's actually better on food. And like a lot of sauces, but it's got good heat. I love it. When I get in the mood, I'll finish. When I open a bottle, I'll finish it in a week or two.
A week?
I'll just go crazy with it.
I still can't talk right.
And then sometimes when I use, not every time I use it, but if I use it several days in a row, I'll get that little capsaicin high.
Really?
It gets that little
even
buzz.
Later?
Yeah.
Huh.
And then, a little 10, 15 minute, almost like a little buzz. And then once in a while too, when I use it, not every time, but it makes sense. Now it's catching up to me.
Yeah, I'm there.
But I make my face numb, make my roof of my mouth, my tongue, and then when my roof of my mouth and my tongue, back of my throat get numb, I can eat all I want to. I don't feel it,
right.
But I still have the flavor. Yeah, I'm gonna need a sip.
Yeah, that one's certainly hot, but a lot of flavor. Still can't talk right. That's the thing is, which this does not have extracts, but with extracts and, as hot as you can. Okay, fine. It's just heat, but I love, and I have a lot of friends, a lot of family that don't eat, I'll say, any spicy food for the sake of the conversation. But what I tell them is like, the cool thing about ghost pepper, Carolina Reaper, stepping up in these hotter peppers is, because they say, oh, why do you do that? I'm like, well, I like doing it, which I can like it because I like it. But once you start building a tolerance up to these peppers, it's like unlocking flavors, because I have friends that play video games, of course. And I'm like, yeah, you just like unlock level and you get certain things with the sauces and the peppers. When you get to a point where you can eat ghost pepper and Carolina Reaper hot sauces, like I can completely distinct a ghost pepper flavor. Like I know exactly what it tastes like.
Yeah.
Which you give that to someone off the street and then they're just,
they're flipped out.
Yeah, nothing at all. So it's almost like a little club of people that can taste these peppers. So I think that's really cool. So I know you said you trademarked your name there. What else do you do, and how do you kind of position yourself with competition to make yourself different?
Like we discussed earlier, just for different processes, different spices, maybe do something. I'll try a lot of different sauces from other sauce makers. Some I absolutely love, some I don't. And people, not everybody likes my sauce,
Right.
but I just try to make it different. And like I say, the spices add to that. Of course, the peppers are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
But I'm working on different peppers this year.
Yeah.
We're growing, so I'm gonna try something else. I'll have all winter to experiment.
Yeah. So experiment with peppers and sauces, and maybe you bought a few sauces and you're like, oh, that's interesting. Let me try kind of a different version of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can mention another sauce,
Sure.
sort of local, A-frame.
A-frame.
sauces.
Yeah, they're right down the road here. I want to have them on the show.
There was a hot sauce event in St. Augustine. I think it was just pre-COVID. And I think the store down there, Hot Stuff, I think it's called, they sponsored it. And we came down, and I met a few people, Bruce Forbach with the Hot As You Want. He's a good guy. And then his sauces are good. And then, but A-Frame, I bought some of the guys. We traded, actually.
Yeah.
I took some home. And I
That's
was
the
like,
best.
Oh, my gosh, this stuff is awesome.
Yeah.
So I've actually ordered it online.
Yeah.
Because I like it. I like my sauces, but, I don't have the only hot sauce around.
Right.
I like other people's sauces, too. So.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing that's so cool about it. And it's a very small investment for you to buy a sauce. Goes to them, helps them. You try the sauce.
Exactly.
It's a great community with all of that. What have you found? Have you found at shows that people gravitate more towards the really hot stuff or the mild stuff, or is it a complete grab? Or regionally, any differences?
Regionally, no, I haven't found that.
It's just like a
people come up and
all different walks of life.
Yeah, and like I said, people walk up. I want your hottest sauce. Well, let's start out low first. No, I want. And there are, okay,
Right.
Go to this one. But then we'll try to talk them into starting out low. We have a salsa verde that's very mild. Won several awards for that. It's my wife's recipe, and then we'll work our way up. And I tell them, if you try our hottest sauce now, you won't be able to taste anything else after that.
So this is hottest, which we haven't had, right?
Right.
And then this is second hottest
Yeah.
ish. Okay.
I have another one in the working. It's in the beta testing
Okay.
right now. I call it Black Ghost.
Black Ghost.
And so there's a lot of black ingredients.
Okay. Like black garlic and black ghost pepper and wow.
Black pepper, black bourbon, black
Wow.
cherry. Yeah. It turned out pretty good. I had that recipe in my head for like 3 years, and then finally this year I was like, hey,
I need
to do it.
Yeah. No, I love that. That's awesome.
It's like the tropical sauce I want to make, and I'm going to do it this winter. I'm not going to talk about it anymore.
And just do it. I know that's the problem. You talk about doing stuff so much, and then your head, part of your head tells you did it even though you didn't.
Yeah.
So that's what pepper you think you're going to feature with that?
Probably the ahi lemon drop.
Oh, okay.
The bright yellow peppers, kind of wrinkly, almost shaped like a ghost because they're long and not really thin, but wrinkly with the point
Yeah.
at the bottom. And they're like a small version of a ghost, but they're bright yellow. I mean, a nice color to them.
Yeah.
And the heat on that is a medium, maybe on the high side of medium.
50 to 100,000 ish.
Gosh, I don't even remember, but yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever tasted one before, but the name sounds familiar.
And they got
sure.
that hint of citrus in it.
Right, which is nice for a little bit of that acid flavor.
I want to make it something where it would go well as a dip for shrimp, or you put it on your mahi, or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it'll something that'll go well with seafood.
Now, I know you're, I don't know if you're from Georgia, but in Georgia now, I know some of your flavors have peach in it, which, everyone knows Georgia peach. Is there any other, at first I was talking about regional in terms of people, but is there any regional flavors outside of peaches that you incorporate your sauces that you think make them unique to Georgia?
We have a strawberry chipotle that is, again, that's one of the ones that's in the beta testing stage, and see how people respond to it when they try it, and which has been very favorable. So I gotta get the recipe approved on that in the next couple of months, along with the Black Ghost.
So those are the two you have in beta right now?
Right.
That's great. And so they're about there. Are you about to send in for approval, or are you just going to do some more tweaking?
Yeah, the strawberry chipotle, I think we've settled on exactly what we want, and the Black Ghost may need some adjusting. Mm-hmm. And so it's a good sauce. Like I say, I had that recipe in my head for about 3 years.
Really?
And I don't know. Do we just stay busy because I grow?
Yes.
And I stay so busy growing, and then we scheduling festivals, scheduling different events, make sure we have enough sauce, ordering bottles, ordering labels, and shrink capsules, and it's I mean, people that make their own sauces know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So.
What's your favorite part of everything about it?
Making a product that when people across our little booth, at the little table there, and they sample it, and it puts a smile on their face.
Yeah.
And the first thing they do is reach for their wallet.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
It's like, wow, I made something that somebody else likes enough.
And finds valuable.
Finds valuable enough to pay for it.
And that's why I love it shows too, is when people taste it, their face always gives you an answer before they can speak anything.
Yep.
Even if they speak something really quick.
That's usually our peach habanero does that.
Yeah.
A Georgia peach habanero, people try that, and their face just, it just lights up. And they smile, and I say, wow. And that's almost everybody.
Yeah.
Get the same response.
Okay. So I am really excited about the fierce sauce here. You told me before we started today that this is made with a pepper that you've been cultivating for 8 years.
This is the end of my 8th season.
End of your. I still can't talk right from that. I'm worried. I'm really worried about this one.
Yeah, I'll be that way on the next one.
So talk me through. You said after year 2 it was stabilized.
It hasn't changed
in flavor and heat,
color, texture,
everything.
The thickness of the skin. Everything.
Everything.
Nothing's changed since the 2nd year.
And it is a plant that you basically will harvest, and then you let the plant die, right, and then restart with seeds.
Yeah, I've tried saving overwintering plants.
They get the changes, right?
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I haven't been successful in that. But this one here, I'll obviously save the seeds and dry them and save them for next season. Mm-hmm. And it's the same plant year after year after year.
That's so cool. So how many of those do you think you grow a year?
This year I only had, because I'm getting older and not able to. When I first started producing peppers, I had about 280, 300 plants every year.
Wow.
Now I'm down to I had 115 this year.
It's still a lot.
And it's a lot. And, I'll be 67 next week.
Happy birthday.
I'm getting where I can't do as much. But anyway, I've had on this one here, I've had I think 45 plants this year, and I'll pick. They're good producers. These little half bushels, they're so big.
Yeah.
And about 45 plants, I'll pick a half bushel twice a week. some
Wow.
maybe 3 times a week.
Wow.
I just had a friend, 'cause we've been on the road for a while. I had a friend, I got a hold of him the other day. I said, listen, you need to go over and pick before the frost comes on Tuesday night, Wednesdays. So he came out to my house on Sunday, and he said he got 4 or 5 gallon buckets full of peppers.
Oh my gosh.
And so that's not bad.
Did it, I guess it would have been like last night. Did it get cold?
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah,
So
but
it was
last 2 nights.
good that he picked them then.
So it's like, okay, I'm done. I don't have to worry about it when I get home.
Yeah. No, that's nice.
Depends on how bad the plants got, set back with the frost. Sometimes they don't get too bad.
Does the frost, obviously it affects the leaves. Does it affect the peppers too?
I really don't think so.
Not as much as
Not the ripe
leaves.
ones anyway. And
The
I've
ripe
had some
ones.
that were on their way to being ripe.
Right.
And I've left them on the vine, and they progress a little slower.
Mm-hmm.
But
Slows
I'll
everything
come
down.
back a couple weeks after a frost, and there'll be some ripe ones on there, and I'll
Yeah.
pick till they're done.
Till they're done.
Yeah.
And so when's the growing season done in? Because you're in northern Georgia.
Northern central.
Northern central. Okay.
Yeah, we're straight east of Atlanta. But a couple of years ago, I was still picking after Thanksgiving.
Really?
Yeah. And,
Wow.
Last year it was right around now was it, and this year's it's stopped right now. So it's when I get home, I can relax a little bit.
Yeah. No, that's really
I don't
nice.
have to worry about going out there and picking and catching up.
Yeah. And now you said this pepper in here, you don't smoke it.
No.
You're straight up because you want the flavor and
I like the flavor and then the color of the pepper. I wanted to maintain the color because it's just unusual for a hot sauce to be this color. Mm-hmm. And it's, people don't believe me, but it's the actual color of the pepper.
yeah.
And so it's different.
And your official name for it?
Petreaux Georgia Peach for the color. Again, not the flavor.
Not the flavor.
Because it's not a sweet pepper. And I had it tested at a lab in Las Cruces, New Mexico 2 years ago, this month. And they sent it back to me as a 1.14 million Scoville.
Wow.
So I didn't expect any new world records, but I'm glad I beat the ghost pepper, so I'm very satisfied with that.
Yeah, and I love that. I mean, so far beyond the scope of my knowledge, but I love how you've cultivated and stabilized it for 6 seasons.
Yeah.
Like that's so cool. So, and
Yeah, I took a Q-tip, and a lot of people use like little paintbrushes, really small ones, but I took a Q-tip and went from plant to plant, and the ones I crossed and grafted and came up with this pepper, and I liked the way it looked.
uh-huh.
So I kept growing it, and I actually got some phenos off of that, which were just kind of strange looking peppers. I had one that was about the same shape as a shark's tooth,
Huh.
and it was growing. The pepper actually grew with the point growing up towards the sky. Pretty little peppers.
Yeah.
And I pulled one off one day and
Popped it in your mouth?
popped it in my mouth. And I made a beeline to the house.
Really?
Yes, and I'm lactose intolerant these days, but we had milk in the fridge, so I got down the milk, and I ended up throwing up in the sink because this pepper was so hot.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
tried to save the seeds, to reproduce this plant.
Yeah.
And, it never went.
Really?
Yeah.
The seeds never.
No, they never propagated.
propagated.
So that's but it was, oh my gosh, it was hot.
That's so
I
wild.
embarrassed myself.
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, hey, we've all been there. Yeah, that's really fascinating. So, and you just said it with the story, but so you've made sauces, or not sauces, peppers that are hotter, and then peppers that are not as hot. You just kind of see what you get.
Yeah.
And then whichever ones you like, you just kind of keep running down that.
Yeah, I've cross-pollinated a Tabasco once. And, Tabasco peppers are
Yeah.
pretty small, and
Yeah,
they'll
yeah.
have like 500 ripe ones on one plant. And you spend
With
an hour.
with each other or with something else?
Yeah, with something else.
Uh-huh.
And I ended up with a Tabasco flavor pepper, a little red pepper about as big as my pinky.
Okay.
And which is quite a bit bigger than the Tabasco, but it still tasted like a Tabasco.
Yeah, like a
And
jumbo
that,
Tabasco.
and then that accidentally got crossed, probably with a habanero, because then they started turning orange. And they had real thick skin. Some of them have a real thick skin and a real hard pepper, and other ones, when you pick them, they just about fall off the vine. You don't have to destem them or anything because that
Yeah.
just comes right off, and they taste just like a habanero. So I thought, okay, I just throw them in there with the habaneros,
Yeah.
And but the same heat and same flavor and everything, but they're like I say, about as big as my pinky.
That's
So
so
it's, but it's
cool.
different. It's like, okay, what's next?
What's next? Yeah, no, I love that. I think the science of that part, I've never gotten into that, but I just
I
find
worked
it
with my
incredibly
extension
fascinating.
agent too with the University of Georgia, and So they've been helpful.
On
with some
help on
yeah.
things. That's
Guiding me in the right direction.
all right. I don't think I can kick this can down the road any longer. So let's
Yeah.
do it.
I've been a little apprehensive. Even though I produce this pepper.
Go easy on us.
It's my little invention. This pepper, grow them, make sauce with it, but it's kind of over the top for me too. I don't use it much. It's just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, you know, when I offer samples at our booth, whoa, I wouldn't take all that. It's just
Proof it's still on there.
yeah.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you, this will hit you immediately.
Oh my gosh.
Woo! Okay, he's got me.
Wow.
It's got me now.
That is hot. But it's kind of it's like numbing through my face.
Yeah, that I've actually had
Wow.
I've actually had customers when they come up and try it, cry.
Oh, I'm headed down that. I mean, I
Had a lady we did a festival up in North Georgia in Gainesville at the Mule Camp Festival, big festival, and a couple years ago, and this lady from India
yeah.
who eats boot jolokia,
Yep.
she tried it. And yeah, she said, "This is the first time your sauce ever made me cry."
Was she one of the give me
sorry.
your hottest?
Probably.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause- yeah. 'cause
Or
I
wanted
think
to
that
get
was
there.
the only one she tried. So
Wow. But great flavor.
yeah, it tastes good.
Yeah.
Which a
that's-
lot of super hot sauces don't.
Yeah, I mean, I would put that. Yeah, I would put that in my super hot category, and this in borderline extreme. I mean, that is, you just don't find sauces that hot that have that kind of flavor.
Yeah. So it's
I mean, it's just, it's
I
there.
can't talk.
I know.
Wow.
Take a. Wow. So you had mentioned doing you have the sauces and everything and kind of trying to expand and talked about drinks and stuff. Do you have any barbecue sauces or dressings or anything you're working on?
Not yet. It's in my head. My wife doesn't want us to expand anymore.
Yeah.
She says, we have enough to worry about.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I know, but look at all this other stuff we can do. Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Well, that's the hard part about it, right? Is you make something and it's successful and then you want to do something else and just keep it going, you know?
Because the lethal dose, I'll mix it with barbecue sauce.
That kind of seems like barbecue sauce now after trying this.
Dang. It's affecting my eyes.
Yeah.
But I add it to barbecue sauce, and it pairs really well.
Yeah.
It kind of brings the flavor up, the spice, obviously, up on a good
Right.
barbecue sauce.
That's great.
It's funny how sometimes the sauces like that, I don't know, I think the fumes go up like horseradish.
Yep.
It does.
And
it goes up through my sinuses and
Yep.
affects my eyes.
Yeah, that one. That one actually didn't make me tear up, which usually they do, but it's just like blowtorch everywhere up into my sinuses and like
Yeah.
just right. And you were right. Immediate.
Yeah.
No. Oh, this isn't. It was there.
Depends on people's palates, but sometimes they'll have a little bit of a delay.
Mm-hmm.
But most people, just like that.
Now, is your pepper the only pepper in there?
Yes.
So just straight, yeah. And I'm really impressed with that. I mean, it tastes good, but it's unique, because you kind of think, you've had so many sauces, so many peppers. You're like, well, how different can it taste?
Yeah.
But it's novel.
Different. Well, the process is quite different in that one. So than all my other sauces.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So that helps give it a different flavor too.
Yeah. Do you have any other sauces planned with that pepper, or what's your game plan?
No, that's probably it.
We're gonna stick with that
For
one
right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, man.
Do you think you'll get to a point where you sell the pepper, the seeds, and have other people, or what are your thoughts on that?
I might try to open up the seeds maybe this this season.
Yeah.
You know, for next year.
Yeah.
Or I might want maybe wait another year.
Yeah.
It's hard to think.
Yeah. No, it's good. That's good. So last thing I like to ask everybody is we have a lot of viewers that watch the show that are, like you once were, getting into sauce and making it at home. What's any advice you can give to someone that getting into the industry or they think they want to start making hot sauce?
Ask questions to small hot sauce makers like myself and growers. When I was coming up, I asked a lot of questions to the guys on some of the social media pages. I can't talk. Social media pages. And they would tell me, find out on your own like I did.
Oh.
I don't treat people that way.
Yeah.
And so, because what goes around comes around. So
Yeah.
I'm very willing to help somebody.
Yeah.
And if I don't know, to give you an answer, I'll tell you I don't know, but I'll find out.
Yeah.
So, am I an expert? No. So
Right. But you'll admit that if you're not. Hey,
Right.
here's what I know. Oh, you're wanting to put XYZ? Well, you really need to talk to somebody about that.
Yeah. And then I'll tell them the process, because I had to find out on my own about what the steps I had to go through to make a sauce that's legal and put on the shelf in stores. So, but I don't want somebody else to have to go through that.
Right.
So I'll be very willing to help somebody out.
Yeah. That's really nice of you. Yeah, it's a lot of different things, and to be successful, you got to do a lot of them well.
Yeah.
Well, the last question here is: I know you have your shows and a couple sauces coming for 2024. Anything else you have planned for 2024?
I'd like to expand. I've got 2 distributors I've been talking with. In fact, I have one distributor I've been dealing with for over a year. And he was trying to get my sauces in a specific market. And he said my wholesale prices were too high. So I thought, well, that's my cost,
Right.
So I'm going to have to try to curb costs somehow or another. And I guess if I do more volume with a larger co-packer, then that will help.
Drive it down, right?
And then the other one is we were on a festival a few weeks ago in Gulf Shores, Alabama. And a lady there came by, sampled our sauces, and got really excited, bubbly. And she said she worked for a specific grocery store chain, and she was a buyer, and she was in charge of buying the sauces, marketing them, pushing them, and setting up end caps in stores,
wow.
For here's a sale, and. I told her we wouldn't be home for a few weeks, and she said, well, contact me when you get back home. We'll get things going.
Great.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's super exciting. That's how it goes. Well, once again, thank you for making time between shows today to stop and chat with us, and hope to have you again back.
Yeah, thank you. I've enjoyed it.
Yes, it's great.
Enjoyed meeting you and
Likewise.
your staff, and you got a great place here.
Thank you. That's it, everyone. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening to The Hot Sauce Show. Be sure to follow us here and on socials to stay up to date on future episodes.